Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Wasn't originally going to do any videos this week, but someone requested that I just do the Hayreddin anyway, talk about its weapon system mostly and stuff like that. Obviously I didn't want to do any videos like this at the moment because of the upcoming changes with AA may completely just change how you potentially build these. That being said, I tend to build with the maximum possible defense on them anyway, so in theory, the fighters and bombers and stuff shouldn't really change, but you may see a switch from Swarm gameplay to something else in the future anyway. And he requested the Hayreddin, and I've had a lot of people requesting the Hayreddin, so I thought I'd just do this one as a one-off. Hopefully the test server will be up next week at some point, so next week I can talk about the test server and the AA changes, and then I can go through and talk about the ships, and probably need to update the tier lists and all that again. So yeah, keep tuned. A lot going to happen over the next, whenever I was told the 6th was when the test server was going up, obviously being the 7th when I'm recording this, so it's not the case. So yeah, I'm not sure when the test server's going up now, but it is going up, and we're going to go test the AA changes and what have you there. So let's have a quick talk about the Hayreddin. When it originally released, it was actually very good. However, after a bunch of changes and stuff like that, I think it's lost some evasion, and since its original inception anyway, and it's now sort of become in this position where it's okay at best, which is why you don't see I have any tech points on here. My tech points on fighters are limited, so I have to go sort of best in class, as opposed to just, you know, tech points in everything like I have with like frigates and destroyers and what have you. So the loss of evasion hurt it, and the loss of evasion hurt it enough where it doesn't get the damage output it used to, and that's mostly because it can't stick around like it used to. It used to have a massive amount of evasion possibility on it, but now nowhere near as much. So you do have the base 25%, and you have 2 evasions that you can pick up here on its thrusters with its 3 slots, and you can even reduce the chance of being hit by missiles, which is great. But I believe it was on the armor system. It had another evasion pip that you could pick up. It's lost that, I think. I think that's what it was anyway. I'd have to go back and check one of the old videos to find out exactly what it was changed or where it lost the other evasion from. Either way, if you are going to run it, I'd still recommend picking up both the evasions and the missile hit rate, well, reduce being hit by missiles, sorry. This mostly due to the fact winged hussars still quite prevalent, etc. And obviously with the upcoming AA changes, there will be more missiles potentially flying at this thing than just winged hussars. So yeah, light cone, winged hussar, they're, you know, both missile anti-air ships, and they do target things like Herodins pretty regularly, and they are not the healthiest ship. There's 6,800, but these things seem to drop like bloody flies when they're flying about. After that, again, pick up the reduced chance of being hit by direct fire weapons. This is further going to buff up that evasion, specifically against direct fire, obviously, but you know, more is always better in this circumstances here. And you probably want the double ship HP. The weapon lock-on time would be amazing on this thing, but the problem is you just don't have the slots, and you do really have to build it for that sort of ability to sort of not get blown out the sky, which is a bit of a shame because its lock-on time at 18 seconds is long. So you do generally want the lock-on time, but at the same time, I think the double HP is just going to get you more out of it in the current situation. So yeah, it's an optional, I guess. Maybe drop one of the HPs for the weapon lock-on time, so then you go the reduced chance of being hit by direct fire weapons, and then go into the ship HP for 1, and then you take that 3rd slot with your weapon lock-on time by 8% times 5, and this is upgradable, obviously. So yeah, you get an extra 14% out of that, which is actually quite Nice. And it does bring on the lock-on evasion down to the reasonable amount of time. But again, they still drop like flies, so having that extra HP does sort of help them out a little bit. As for the weapon system, it's an interesting one because this weapon system, at 125 damage per hit, does work more like a laser with 2 attacks per round, 13-second duration, and a 6.5-second cooldown. But you got this, which is really, really nice, which is Charged Phased Strike. Charged pulse weapons damage increases by 12% for every 2 consecutive rounds it attacks the same target, up to 24%. This bonus is a reset after switching target. So the lock-on doesn't really matter too much due to the fact that, you know, you want this attacking something very large, preferably solar whales or anything with big HP pulls, so it can keep this 24% bonus just permanently up. And it's just a massive amount of damage increase, to be honest with you. So strategy really good here. Hit rate, absolutely necessary to pick up the hit rate on this thing as well. So you're kind of going into its hit rate and then into the charged phase strike on its weapon system. I then recommend the double firing duration. As I said, if you ever see firing duration on any weapon system at all, always pick it up because it drastically increases the damage, the damage per minute by quite a considerable margin, even more so than cooldown. So definitely grab that. And there's sort of like 4 of your, I don't know, is it 7 slots on this? Yeah, 7 slots that you've got to go on. And it kind of leaves you in a position where it's like, well, you've got 2 options. You either try and pick up the cooldown, which is obviously, it is really good. But in my opinion, going triple damage here, and then taking the sympathetic detonation for the increased chance and crit damage, is the way to go, in my personal opinion. I found I consistently get better damage output than going for the cooldown, double damage or triple damage, or cooldown, double damage, and the sympathetic detonation. I've always found going the triple damage, and it's probably due to the fact that, you know, this is a 30% buff, plus you're going to get a 24% from the charged phase strike, giving you a 54% buff, and then you can further increase that. You can get an extra 5% going just as the system adjustment. Your sympathetic detonation can be upgraded and enhanced even further. So you're going to get an extra 50% crit damage there as well, on top of the fact that you're going to get 50%. So you're going to get 100% crit damage at a 6% chance. So yeah, really, really strong potential buffs. And going damage really helps it out because then that crit damage is just massively increased because it comes off of the damage increases as well. So that's how I personally build the Hayreddin. Again, don't use it too much anymore. In the command system, you have one option. You pick it up whether you want it or not, whether you want to see the ship maxed or not, because it doesn't really do much on here. So yeah, it really does well on ships where you can force engagement onto super capitals, so anything like the Predators and stuff like that, which give fighters the ability to, you know, prioritize super caps. That's where you want this thing. You don't want it going into AA. It's not very good at AA. Not anymore, anyway. And yeah, again, like I said, I think it was 4 slots on the prop system and it had another evasion here or something. I can't remember. But that nerf on the Herodin actually hit it pretty hard. And now these things are very squidgy, I found, and they die pretty much faster than every other aircraft I've run, which is a shame because its damage potential is quite decent, and if you can keep them around, they do decent damage. They don't keep up with Fetus Bs, they never did. But you know, they'll keep up with Stingrays or something, which is actually pretty reasonable, to be honest, considering this is a fighter and that's a bomber. So yeah, that is the Hayreddin Loyal. It is a good aircraft, but it's not top tier. It's very middle of the road, I think, in its current situation. Again, With the AA changes, for all we know, it might just flat out kill aircraft entirely. And we're going to see, you know, Swarm disappear potentially. That being said, if its requirement to, you know, kill Swarm is still having like multiple AA ships, then you still got a nice little triangle going on where you got, well, AA fleet of some description, which can take out Swarm, fantastic. But, you know, if you don't run all those AA ships, you still have Super Heavy, and Swarm can compete with Super Heavy. So I don't know if you'll see the death of Swarm. I just think you're going to have to sit there and choose your fights considerably better rather than where Swarm currently is. As long as it's not a whale that's running Super Heavy or another whale running, you know, Swarm itself. Swarm generally is just a general all-purpose, and to be honest, I kind of think it's a bit boring due to that. You know, general all-purpose fleets with no real proper counters is sort of boring. So the death of Swarm, it's not terrible. It's not going to be bad for the game for certain. It's just going to mean that we're going to have to, you know, play around with fleets. You know, maybe use less. You'll see more hybrid probably. More Super Heavy. So yeah, it doesn't. It's not bad. It's like Swarm's a bit of a no-brainer because it's just good against everything. You're generally going to have a good fight regardless whether you win or not. You're going to do a massive amount of damage. So now, you know, the fact that it's potentially maybe going or in a position where it's heavily counted works completely fine, to be honest. I don't have a problem with that. But we will definitely find out more about that later on when we get the test server up and running. We can check out the AA changes then and there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.